All right, so Steve Cohen and D1 Capital team up for Collector Universe. Collector Universe is the parent company for PSA. I believe it was to the tune of about $700 million it was purchased for. So, yeah, it's crazy times in this hobby that grading companies are being bought.
$700 million. Wow.
$700 million.
Well,
I mean, the outbid Dan. Dan dropped Dan made an offer and he got outbid.
I know what C-Rad's thinking now. He's like, I don't need $700 million for 6.5, but
Nope.
You got to be like 200,000, 200 million. Sorry, I don't want to.
Yeah, 200,000.
I don't want to devalue the 6.5, but you got to be thinking like, is it on the block?
I would have taken 100 million, man.
100 million. It's on the block though.
Easy.
Yeah. So 6.5 it's on the block. I mean, the market has been set. You can get a steal at 100 million.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty good deal. I might go talk to my accountant, see if I can.
Because I mean, I actually feel C-Rad 6.5 is 10 times better than PSA.
CGS.
I would actually rather have a 6.5 slab than a PSA slab. You know, it goes basically Beckett 6.5 SGC.
Oh dang! Below SGC, dang.
CGS B. No. And then PSA. It's in there. I mean, it's.
So according to your calculations, Beckett should be worth like, I don't know, $1 billion?
Trillion with a T.
With those patent pending slabs. But anyways, the Collector Universe parent company of PSA is being sold to investor group led by entrepreneur and sports card collector Nat Turner for approximately $700 million. D1 Capital Partners and Cohen partnered private ventures will acquire all the company's outstanding shares of common stock for $75.25 per share in cash. Cohen Private Ventures oversees a certain family office's activities for investments capital on behalf of Stephen A. Cohen and his family. Cohen is the new owner of the New York Mets. This move means PSA will be a publicly owned company to a private equity. Joe Orlando, president and CEO of a Collector Universe, will continue to lead the Collector Universe, which will retain its headquarters in Santa Ana, California. After careful consideration, we are pleased to reach an agreement that reflects the remarkable value creation Collector Universe has achieved through its consistent execution during these challenging times, said A.J. Burt Moyer, chairman of the Collector Universe Board of Directors. The transaction will deliver an immediate cash premium to our shareholders and create exciting opportunities for our employees, collectors, and dealers around the world. Now, you're about to say something.
Because I think you're going to say the same exact thing. I think we're going to basically talk, because Collectors Universe was a publicly traded company, correct? Now they're not. So do your stocks end up getting cashed out?
Yeah, do you not have a choice? I guess you don't have a choice.
I don't think
I don't know how that works.
I don't think you have a choice, but like it sounded like they're getting cashed out
at a higher
at $75 a share. I don't know what it was trading at, but I'm assuming it was less than $75 a share. So that's a come up. That's a come up, right?
Right. Well, unless you thought that, hey, this thing's going to go up to $200 a share, I'm in it for the next 20 years. And now you can't, right?
Now you can't. Now you were able to walk around last week and say, I'm an owner of PSA, Collectors Universe. You can't say that anymore because you're not an owner anymore.
It's not your portfolio.
You're not part of the business anymore. Well, what do you think? I mean, are you like, I mean, I know you love it, so you think is it a great move? Is it a do you have no opinion?
It shows liquidity in the sports card game, and we'll get into that. We've got some comparisons of what's happened over this last year or two.
Big financial word right there.
It shows how strong the sports card market is, that somebody that's a billionaire investor, a billionaire entrepreneur, somebody that owns a team is willing to buy a company involved in. They don't even make anything.
Are you worried?
They are a service-based company. That's the other thing. They didn't buy Topps Panini Upper Deck. They bought a service company.
Are you worried about the transparency of PSA going forward based on the fact that the principal buyer is a card collector themselves?
Well, that was the first rumblings that we had seen on Twitter, Facebook, and you know how the wild, wild west is out on the interwebs. But the first glance, collectors are like, well, then this guy's just going to get all PSA 10s.
You think
the owner is like,
this guy was able to throw down $700 million You think his number one concern is like my end game is to make sure I get gem mint 10s on all my cards? You think that's where he was at? You think like I'm already a billionaire, but this is gonna put me over the top? I'm gonna take over Bezos and Elon Musk with my gem mint 10s.
One slab at a time, baby. I mean, if you think about it,
I think that is a knee-jerk, ridiculous assumption and reaction.
I agree. I think somebody that has that kind of money and has other businesses doesn't have time to worry about how much money they're going to make on their slabs. But I mean, you could make that $700 million back real quick with some Jordan PSA 10s. Get a couple of them. Just saying. I know it's not happening.
If we start seeing some Jordans come out and it's like 90-10 centering and they're gem mint 10s, I'll be like, you got a point, Doug. But until we start seeing that, I'm calling BS on that.
What do you think about it? What are your thoughts, C-Rad, initially on this news? Which I think I kind of just broke it to you.
Yep.
When you walked in.
I mean, I saw some people talking about it. I didn't know specifically it was a PSA. Because Collectors Universe, I'm not familiar with the name of that company, right? Because I didn't know that's the company that owns PSA.
That's
Collectors
the
Universe.
Company.
Yeah, the parent. I didn't even know about the. I saw like the investor buys Collectors Universe for. I saw that. I didn't realize at all it was PSA. So for me, yeah, it's pretty crazy. I just wonder, like, what kind of things are going to happen during this transition? Like, are we going to be able to still, are people going to want to submit right now or not? There's a lot of questions about that. And,
yeah. I mean, I think that,
what happened to your screen, dude?
Somebody called me.
So
it switched screens. Yeah.
Well, I got a computer.
You got a non-Mac computer.
I got a Samsung. People call me all the time on my phone. Doesn't affect my computer at all.
I need to turn that off. I'm too connected. You can get a hold of me too many ways. I'm on the show. You get a hold of me on my laptop.
But yeah, because like I was literally getting this, like today I was getting some of my cards together. I'm finally getting ready to send some out, and then like I'm wondering, and I saw that
I heard they might have been closed, not due to this, but I think there might be some COVID stuff going on.
Yeah, I saw that they actually give you a warning on the site now that even like their faster services, like there's going to be a delay with even the faster services. I was like, dang, that sucks. I was trying to get mine back, within like 15 days or 20 days.
And I'm glad you brought that up because I think that's the concern from what I've heard and what I've seen on people talking about the subject is they're hoping that this guy fixes PSA, that this company comes in and makes it faster, better, more. I don't know, more legit. I don't know if that's the confusion, but
more better.
I think more better,
more better.
Product of public school. But I think what people don't understand is if you're running a business, and we are in no way, shape, or form running a business like they are, and they're publicly traded. They have a lot of people working for them. You cannot predict how many cards come in at once. Like with us, we put up our breaks, and we sell 11 breaks, we sell 12 breaks. Imagine what they're dealing with. They have the potential of selling 1 million breaks in one day because they're basically just receiving stuff in. So if you had 10 graders that could normally do 200 cards a day, so you could do 200,000 cards a day, and then now you have 1 million of cards coming in, it's just not going to get done in time. I mean, it's just, and then as a company, do you hire more? For one, where do you find a grader? Where do you find anybody that's going to be able to start grading within a week? Where do you find that? For two, you can't hire. It's like the Christmas season. During the Christmas season, you're going to ramp up as a department store. You're going to ramp, well, maybe not during COVID, but you're going to ramp up to have people to service customers. They're not going to hire 40 or 50 people and think that the demand is still going to keep going.
Yeah, so you can't really hire temporary help.
No.
My thing is, imagine the backlog in the next month with Prism coming out. Mm-hmm. All these rookie base cards are going for like $500, $600, $700. Like, if you get a Herbert in a break or you get a Herbert base card in a box, like, that's directly going to go to PSA. Multiply that by however many base cards are out there, and then you add Bowman Draft baseball around the corner, and that's also a big submission release as well. How do they keep up?
Right.
There is no physical way to keep up when everybody is sending their base cards in to get graded.
Right. And that's the thing. And Kelp, yeah, exactly. You would think you could just increase the number of graders and start to handle the volume better. But like my question is, how do you hire a grader? What do you pay a grader? And what is the expectation of a grader each day?
Yeah.
Is it 50 cards? Is it 100 cards? Is it 200 cards? Is it 300 cards?
I get it. I get what I have to do. I got to quit Mojobreak and I got to go work for PSA so I can get the inside information. They won't hire me. Maybe you can go. Maybe you can go get hired because they won't hire me.
Yeah, I'm Team PSA.
Yeah, but Beckett, you go to PSA, I'll go to Beckett. And then we'll come back in a month. It'll be like undercover boss, but we won't be bosses. We'll just be like regular employees.
Well, you have seasons in grading where you can flex staff. Kelp says Bowman Draft, Prism NBA, Contenders, and now Prism NFL. And that makes a lot of sense to me. But Mosaic comes along, and everybody starts grading Mosaic, new product. So like, I think there's some things that come out that nobody knows that they're going to grade, though. I mean, we had look at the Marvels in Donruss. Like when that came out, we're like, oh, cool, that's awesome. But like everybody's grading them now, and now they're worth hundreds of dollars. And Chris is making the point that this isn't looking good as an investment because they will grow and it'll be like a factory and they'll turn away buyers for PSA grading. And that also goes into the overproduction. I think I would say if I had to put it into a number, it's probably specifically on base cards. Right now, the industry is probably 70-30. It's probably 70% PSA, 30% on 35-point base cards. So, yes, there's going to be 100 times more rookies this season graded than there was in any other season. So does that affect the value? We don't know because there's more buyers now. So it's all relative to this whole explosion of the industry. But, PSA could be looked at. I mean, how hobbyists are. Hobbyists are very, very particular on how they do things. And PSA could be looked at more corporate at this point. Yeah. Where BGS, hey, they're Beckett. They're good. They're in Texas, and they're not corporate as much as PSA is, and there's people that hate people from California and people that like people from Texas.
I don't know how.
I'm saying people.
What kind of tangent you going on, dude? Like,
I'm saying that people may have more choices, and people may not choose PSA for that reason. Collectors like what they like.
Like you would think with this, like somebody like this, Mets co-owner and buying the company for $700 million. Like you go into this investing and buying a company like this, you probably already with your whole team,
you have a plan, you have an idea,
you have an idea like how you're gonna maybe hopefully improve things.
Yeah, you don't go into an acquisition like that
and be like,
well. It's not broken. I don't need to do anything because it's broken. It's broken.
Well, they're going to try to return on their investment as soon as possible.
Maybe.
That too,
I mean, but you don't know what that timetable is looking like. You don't know if they're like, well, we're viewing this as a 5-year plan or a 10-year plan. They went into it knowing what the downfalls of the current PSA setup is right now.
Yes.
You got to expect that they're going to come in and be like, we're going to try to fix these issues. Now, we're not on the board. We don't know what they are deciding those issues are. Hopefully, it's the backlog.
Right.
But trying to find people who are going to be qualified to be graders is difficult.
It's going to take time.
It's a process. It is similar on a different scale, us trying to find on-air talent to break boxes.
Right.
We've tried in the past. Been fortunate to have Conrad and Cody, but people who've been with us for a while have seen other people come and go. We can't just put out a Craigslist ad or an Indeed ad and just get an influx of people who can do the job. I think it's similar with grading. There's not a lot of people out there that either want to do it or are qualified to do it.
Or who knows what it pays. I heard rumblings that it was under $40K a year for Beckett, but that might have been a long time ago. So I don't know what the going rate is for somebody to grade cards, and I'm sure it's probably cool if you're – but then you want to hire a collector. Do you even want to hire a collector? You probably just want to hire somebody that's got 20/20 vision, right?
I was actually going to say, like, what? Okay, so little role play here. You're the brand manager and the hiring guy at PSA.
So you're saying I got to wear a polo shirt?
Polo shirt.
Okay.
PSA polo
Tucked
shirt.
in, right?
Tucked in.
Okay.
Of course, not even a question. But you basically know what you're going to pay this person. What is the number one attribute you want this person to have?
2 eyeballs? I mean.
2 eyeballs.
I would say solid eyesight, but
Yeah.
I mean eyeballs is close. I mean,
In layman's, I mean.
but yeah, I mean that's the first thing that you would look for, right?
Yeah, Eric in the chat is super curious on what it pays as well. And if you're listening to this on the podcast audio version, we do have the video live version we do every week at 3:30 on Wednesday. Yeah, that would be something. Maybe we can find somebody that like either recently got let go or quit or furloughed and that's willing to give up that information. I would be interested. That's an interesting career position to be in. So yeah, I mean we'll definitely see.
And do you think that is there a quota to how many cards you need to get through? Is there a bonus structure the more cards you get through? Do you want that? Do you want somebody?
Yeah, you don't want
you don't want
it.
somebody to blow through cards. Like, I don't know, man. I am really curious. I would love to have somebody on the show who has actually worked for one of the grading companies, and pull back the curtain a little bit.
We're all Black Day at Mojo. Yeah, I guess so. It's we're still in that Black Friday spirit, I guess. So. Yeah, pull back the curtain. There's got to be somebody out. If somebody knows somebody, maybe we'll give like a free spot to break or something, grease the wheels a little bit to get somebody on the show that we can have, a 20-minute interview about how the process was. I don't know if they're like, they have what do they call those things? NDAs or I know my dad used to work for Lockheed, and there was some departments that were working with national defense. Right? Obviously, this is not the same comparison, but he couldn't say anything after he left. Like they could still bring him back in and do a lie detector on him. I don't know if that obviously that happens, but yeah, maybe an NDA or a non-compete or something.
Well, what's that phrase? Cody uses it. What's your phrase? Like how the sausage is made? Like that right there. Like how that's what we need. We need to see how PSA makes the sausage.
Yeah. Do you think it's a sausage fest?
I didn't go. My phrase was real. You made it weird.
Bro, like the PSA is the OGs of graders, right?
Yeah.
Like so, you imagine some of these.
They don't have. They didn't have print media.
So that's true. Beck is the OGs of sports cars, but PSA
yeah, what's up, dude?
Graders.
Let me get my price guide.
But you figure some of the guys that they have there have been there forever, probably. Like they consider their senior graders or whatever.
Like the OG
management positions now. And you figure in the last 20, 30 years, there'd be somebody that would have left the company that would have kind of divulged what happened there. There's got to be somebody out there. And one also thing to note is that I think they are the standard. Correct me if I'm wrong. They are the standard for coins too. So I think before the cards really blew up, let's just say 5-6 years ago, I think the coin business was bigger for them. So, you're grading your 1900 pennies or whatever, the rare Indian head cent or whatever. There's some coins out there that are just worth a lot of money, and they are the standard for that, for grading coins. And they grade memorabilia, obviously, too, with the PSA DNA, another standard in the industry. So I think they have that over Beckett. You can't compete on that one, saying that a PSA DNA memorabilia is worth more than a Beckett, or is worth less than a Beckett memorabilia.
I hope it was BOGO with that deal. I hope you got PSA, the grading company, but I hope PSA DNA was just thrown in for free. You know how I
think
felt.
Collector's Universe umbrella.
No, it should have been. It was a BOGO. It was a buy one get one.
So
because obviously they need somebody who can figure out what Tom Petty's autograph looks like.
Yeah, maybe we'll revisit that with the new change around and see if we'll get it graded right.
With the new under the new umbrella.
We got the Tom Petty expert.
But I mean. Once you guys think this industry is crazy now. I mean, this is another reason that justifies what is going on. You look at the LeBron James that sold for $1.8 million. You look at the Vegas Dave that sold his Superfractor for millions. You look at the Giannis that sold for $1.8 million. Then you see the Pokemon stuff that's sold for $300,000. You see now you see this, a $700 million sports card company. I think it's safe to say that sports cards are somewhat cool, guys. I think we're like kind of getting, made legitimate in a sense where you can actually have a conversation with a couple people that might know what you're talking about at your holiday party.
Took 20 years to be the coolest guy in the room.
I'm not saying that by any stretch of the means. We're not the coolest guys in the room.
Oh,
but
I think that's exactly what you just said. Now you can go to parties and be like, anybody want to talk sports cards? And just a line of people like, yeah, I want to talk about sports cards.
No, not a line. Maybe one guy. But I mean, I think there's less of like I collect sports cards nerd going on because we're no longer nerds anymore. I know people will hate to throw around smart investors, but a lot of people bought some cards a couple years ago and did very well with them. And obviously, the guy that bought the Giannis for like $6,000-$7,000 and sold it for $1 million, the guy that bought the LeBron. I mean, the guy that sold PSA. I mean, there is money in this industry.
We talk a lot about the good investments, though, but let's talk about the bad investments that are not that far. Like, dude, 2014, Johnny Manziel.
Oh, there's always going to be bad investments.
How about the people who are like, I'm going heavy in Johnny Manziel 2014? Mm-hmm. They're probably not considered a good investor, right? See, being an investor in sports cards, there's so many things that are out of your control. You can't do anything to make that player perform better.
Right.
There's nothing you can. You could root really hard. You're like, I really want you to do well.
And I don't want. And it's two separate things. And I'm not comparing stocks to sports cards. But can you make Tesla better if you own stock in Tesla? Can you go to Elon and say like, I need you to crank out more cars, watch my stocks go up? So it's essentially, in a sense, in layman's, it's the same thing.
If you could be a part of like a conference call with the company, which is you can't be on a conference call with Steph Curry and be like, hey, next time you got some more open shots, I really need you to take them because I need you to get more points. You can't have that call.
I got like 5-year RPAs, buddy. No.
I don't.
Oh, I wish.
I don't know, man. You could root for the player that you collect, but there's nothing that you can do that's going to affect the value personally. But it's funny because I guess there is, because you can buy all of his cards and not let any out into the market. Then I guess you do control the market.
You control the market. Yeah, you can't buy all the stock, right? There's a
you can't
cap
buy.
on that.
Yeah, well, I think if you buy all the stock, then you just have the company.
We had people mentioning the Mannion investment, which is still waiting to pay dividends. I'm still waiting on cashing my Mannions for my Lambo. Okay, there's still a possibility. All right?
The Mannion collection is like having $1 million check in your pocket and just nowhere to cash.
It's just I'm waiting.
Like I just don't have a bank I can go to and quite cash it yet, but it's there.
I've been house shopping, and I think I'm going to show up with a briefcase of Mannions. And you know what? That'll be weird enough that they'll probably give me the house.
You know the funny thing is that Nico Mannion sells for more than Sean Mannion.
Well, of course.
Nico Mannion's
is a G.
He's gonna be a beast, bro.
But you know what? It's funny, and a lot of us old school hobbyists, if you've just listened to our podcast, we've been doing this since 2010. It's almost like we got a bandwagon situation going on, right? It's almost like you've been a diehard Patriot fan since 1950, and then all of a sudden 6 Super Bowls come around, and now you got everybody and their mom wearing Patriot hats, wearing Patriot jerseys. I almost compare that. So I think you got the guys that are team builders, set collectors that don't like sell their cards necessarily, and then you've got the guys that have the flip-flops that are going in Walmart and they're flipping their Prism for 20 that they bought for 20, they're flipping it for 160. Those are like the bandwagon fans in a sense.
It's ironic that the flippers have flip-flops on.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So you could see a segment of hobbyists that don't like what the new hobbyists like, and it's kind of like
you're making it sound like the hobby's divided.
I think it is, isn't it? I mean, you've got the.
Well, I don't know. I mean, what do you consider yourself, Doug? What do you consider yourself, C-Rad? Old school collector, new school collector, combination of both.
I'll see myself as a combination of both. For me, the most purest thing of sports cards for me is always at the end of the day. For me, I get the most joy from sports cards. From opening the sports cards themselves. So when I get to do that for you guys, the customers of Mojobreak, and I get to open up cards for you guys, that's the same excitement and feeling I got as a kid opening up cards for myself. So but then at the same time, you know, like I'm like looking at guys every single year that I want to invest in that I believe may potentially, you know, become greater in the future that I can, you know, obviously sell for the future if the prices go up. So I feel like I'm a combination of both.
Yeah, I kind of can say the same thing as I try to adapt to the new trends, you know, that happen. I still like what I like as a collector, but I try to, because, you know, our business is to sell you guys what you want, and not tell you what you should buy, right? Because a lot of times I'm like, no one will ever buy that product because I wouldn't buy it, but there's people that buy it. So you can't. When you're selling a product, you got to let people decide what they're going to buy. And that's one of the things that we do is we offer we're doing Pokemon and soccer. And, you know, we've done a lot more now than we used to try to offer everything to you guys and customers and stuff like that are out there joining our breaks. So, yeah, it's just it's a different time. It literally is. I mean, I don't know how many people I've met recently that literally got in within the last year. There's a lot more than that than guys that have came in and said they've collected for 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm probably more towards the dinosaur than I am the new school.
That toy is dope, bro.
That's why I put the dino. I'm tilting dinosaur. It's because how much it's changed almost overnight, and honestly, like the demographic, the age demographic, that the change that we've seen in the last like 2 years has probably the industry's probably gotten 10 years younger. We probably went from like the average age being like, you know, 35, 45, now down to 25, 35.
Yes.
Which, and like I said, it happened almost overnight. I like what I like, and it seems what I like is more of what people liked when I got back into it in 2010. I haven't really jumped into grading base rookie cards and like being like, that's my cornerstone of my collection. I still want the Bowman Chrome first autos when it comes to baseball. I still want the typical base contenders rookie auto. And if I want to, you know, spend a lot of money, get the true RPA, like National Treasures. And I'm not really jumping on the Phoenix and Mosaic bandwagon base cards and parallels and stuff like that. I want what I want. So I think that kind of has me towards the dinosaur crew over here, just hanging on. But
Team Dino. Raptors. Velociraptors.
That's me.
Yeah, I mean, but I think that's a good thing in the way for the health of the hobby because, you know, I'd say back in like 13, 14, 15, you know, I'm 38, so I was 33 around that time. And I'm thinking, ain't nobody younger than me going to collect cards, you know? Like, there is nobody. These kids are into Madden. They're into, you know, 2K. There was a company that we were friends with that was trying to bridge the gap and have Madden and sports cards kind of combined, and it didn't work because these kids just didn't want to do it. They just weren't interested in cards. I mean, there was too much going on social media, all that other stuff where cards were in the forefront. But once the prices started happening and the influencers, I mean, people hate on Gary Vee all they want, but Gary Vee, I think, is a big factor to talking to Logan Paul to buy the Pokemon, talking to Rich on the Rich Eisen show, talking about buying all these Giannis cards. And then you saw the chips fall in line while these like Rob Kardashian now and different famous people that are involved, Steve Aoki and all these guys that are now out there and they're shooting out cards to the industry where they're saying like Mark Wahlberg's kids. So it seems like it's like this is pretty cool. And with a lot of things you can't go to a club, you can't go to Disneyland, you can't do these things. This is an outlet, and I think these people, a lot of them are going to be here to stay, so I think it kind of provides some validity to the industry, and I think it provides more long-term where we're like, the new generation's in this thing.
They're here to stay as long as they can keep on making money. Once the well runs dry, then they're out, and they're on to the next thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I agree with you with the here to stay and the longevity.
But what you got to remember is
I think there will be a fraction of the new school collectors that came in that truly do love it, and they're just like, even if it's not as popular as it was, or I'm not making as much money, I'm going to stay in it because I enjoy it. But I think that's a small percentage. I think there's still going to be the 75% of people who are like, I'm over it, I'm on to the next thing.
But I think what you got to, like, you have the similar story to me, and a lot of us have that similar story where I was 8 or 9 years old. My dad remembered in the 50s and 60s that he had thrown out his cards. We started collecting again in 91 for Stadium Club, so I remember those memories. So when I got older, that kind of like, I want to check this stuff out. So now you have these younger kids, regardless of your I don't disagree with your argument that they may get out of it, but when they have kids, they're going to remember their joys, and they may have their kids buy cards. So you have this ball rolling still, right? You have this industry where now whether it goes, I don't think it's going to go digital, but there's going to definitely be some kind of futuristic stuff to what we're doing maybe 20 years from now, that these kids are going to be 20 now, and they're going to be collecting cards.
They're going to figure it out. And, like a lot of things that, like obviously collectors, adults are always saying like, this industry isn't for kids anymore. These kids can't afford these cards. What you guys are missing is that fact that these kids may not be able to afford these cards now, but they're absolutely watching all of these this YouTube content. They're watching all of these breaks in their head. It's already planted. It's like, when I get of age and when I start making money and when I can do this myself, when I can buy cards and when I can actually do this, it's gonna grow the hobby even bigger. So yeah, kids can't afford it right now, but wait 5-10 years when they can't afford it, and you guys will see what's going to happen to the industry.
Yep. I mean, you see the singles that were like the investments that were made that paid off, like the Jordans and all that stuff. And there's so many segments of this hobby, whether you get into breaks, whether you buy sealed wax, whether you buy singles, whether you're on COMC, there's so many different ways to participate by yourself too. I mean, you don't even have to, you can't go out, but you can participate with people around the world in this and talk about your cards while Zion's doing a dunk, or, LaMelo's shooting something crazy or whatever. So that was a great conversation. That was fun. This stuff comes up, and it's good to discuss and look forward. And if you got any input, comment below, and make sure you guys subscribe to us here on Mojobreak Media as well.